Hello, I'm Laura Jensen and I'm at Meishan Preservation at my farm store Jensen Reserve. Today I want to talk to you about fencing with our Meishan pigs. That's one of the top questions that we get. So on my farm we use three kinds of fencing depending on how you want to count them. When I originally bought this farm it was for horses. So we use this fence, which is considered a 2x4 no climb is what it's called. And what that means is roughly a 2" by 4" and animals would not be able to climb it because of the way it's made. This is incredibly expensive fencing. To fence this 3.5 acres in 2013 was somewhere around $13,000. So it's incredibly expensive to get started with. It has its flaws, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. One of the other kinds of fencing that we use is panels, and I'm going to step over here and show you on the other side of the driveway my favorite fencing. So these are called panels, and if you're new to the world of fencing, I don't know why they're called panels, but they're called panels. So this specific one is called a cattle panel. This is what I prefer to use everywhere that I can. It holds everything in, it keeps things from coming over the top. The only thing it doesn't do well is keep piglets in. So we have a different kind of panel called a hog panel that is a shorter one with fewer grids in it. Now you can also see what I'm going to call the third style of fencing in here, and this is off before I touch it, and this is electric fence. So if we have sows in heat or boars that are ready to breed and we don't want them to, it's always a good idea to have an electric wire run on the inside of your fence. I find that that really holds back anything that you need to hold back. So now I'm going to step out to our pasture over on this side again. I'll show you one of our grow out areas and I'll show you how I use hog panels. I'll see you out there. All right, we're back. We're out here in the middle of my 3.5 acre pasture with a couple different kinds of fencing. What I wanted to show you specifically out here is what's called a hog panel. And if you notice, it's shorter than the cattle panels. I think the cattle panels are roughly 4 foot high, whereas these are going to be more like 3 foot, a little bit shorter than that. What we do here is we put piglets, once they're weaned, out here to grow out essentially until they can't fit through this grid that's on my cattle panels on my other pasture. So if you notice, piglets can't fit through the bottom here because the space between the holes is a lot smaller. So in terms of fencing, just to recap, I'm going to go with 3 kinds. All right, I know we talked about a couple different ones. I'm going to call panels one kind of fencing, stretched woven wire, no climb, anything like that as a second one, and then a third one being electric. So I find that most of us have combinations of all 3 really. Now let's talk about why I love this fencing versus my rolled wire fencing. For us, we had to build a lot of fencing, and it was more than my husband and I could take on as far as time that we had to build it. And then we weren't 100% sure of what we liked and what we didn't like. Once you are rolling out long spans of this no climb fence, to move it is kind of challenging. And if you've ever cut one of those fence lines loose, it's just like boing, and it's everywhere. So now you've got to roll it back up, and you have to have somebody that's somewhat educated to unroll it, stretch it, and then remount it to whatever post or poles that you want. So for us, this doesn't need that. I can give someone some pretty basic instructions on how to drive T-post, how to put the fence up, and how to attach it, and now we can work on some other projects on the farm. And we can move it whenever and however we want. So I know a lot of people say that this fence is just too expensive, but I would put the question to you of, is it? If you have to move it, if you have to create a different section with it, is it really more expensive, or is it a better value because it is so easily moved? So that's my thoughts on fencing on our pasture as far as what we use and how we use it. My next video will be on this pasture itself and how the pigs have been on it for the last probably 2 years. So we'll see you at the next video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.